Hi, my name's Ashutosh Sharma, and today I am completing the assignment, the opportunity to improve my midterm score, and so I'll be explaining the each figure's code and explaining how they work. So we will start with figure 2.9, contact to HTML. So get out of this Visual Studios. So this is the contact to HTML. So basically, this code represents, even though it's considered a contact HTML, you can also consider it as a web page with its various elements and special characters. And so you see that the HTML, the beginning HTML, so that's the beginning HTML document. You have the header that contains the data about the document, and then you have the meta char set UTF-8, so that specifies the characters encoding of the document, and then you have the title, which will be contact page, and so this will set the title of the document to contact page, and then you have the end heading, so the ends the header section. Then you have the body, so this begins the body of the HTML document, and then you have P that starts the paragraph. So within it, we have a href equals mail to ditel@ditel.com. And you also have Ditel and AMP Associates Inc. So this is actually very important because this creates a hyperlink. So when clicked, it opens the default email to send an email to ditel@ditel.com with the text send an email to Ditel Associate Inc. And MP, it's the this is also an HTML entity representing the ampersand character. So this is very important because when you click this, it'll, create a default email to send it to mail to ditel@ditel.com. Then you have the end of the paragraph. Then you have insert the horizontal rule. So this is like a break in the content. And then you have the going down, and then you have the um, ending body and ending HTML. So when you run this, like copy path, let's say you put it into Firefox, for example. So here, send an email to Ditel Inc. So you see it creates the default email, Ditel.com. So here it creates the default email, sending it to Ditel@Ditel.com. Okay, so now the next one is 2.11 list.html. So here's the code for list.html, and here you have the HTML beginning HTML, you have the header, the meta char specifies the characters encoding. You have the title, so it'll set the title of the document to lists, and the body, so this will be the beginning of the body element. And then you have H1, so this will display a heading um, that'll indicate the topic, so the best features of the internet will be displayed. And then we have UL, so this is the starting of the in order list. And then we have the list item LI, so this will be the starting of the list item. And then we have the nested unordered list. So this part of the code starts an unordered list. And within one of the list items, it'll list some of the new medias available um, on the internet, including games, applications, business, and pleasures. And then you have another in order list of XML, Java, HTML, JavaScript, and new languages. So when you run this, Here, so it'll have best features of internet. You can meet new people, new games, new applications. And here in the nested in order list, it will show like different types of applications for business, pleasures, around the clock news search engines, and also the programming. So here in this listed, nested in order list, it specifies this all. So that was the 2.11. So now we go to 2.13 table. So this code is a table too. So this kind of also represents a web page that displays like a complex table comparing different types of camelids. Um, so you have the beginning HTML that begins the HTML document. You have the header contains data about the document, then a char set specifies the characters and coding of the document. Then you have title. So this sets the title of the document to tables. And then you have the header, so the ending of the header section. Then you have the body section, so this begins the body of the HTML document. And then we have a header one, so this will uh, display the heading indicating the topics of the tables, so it'll be spanning rows and columns. And then you have the table border one. So this basically starts the table with the border attribute set to one. And then you have the caption, a more complex. So this adds a caption to the table, giving like a brief description. And then you have the header rows. So this will define basically two rows of the header section of the table. The first row will contain an image of the camel with a row span of two, and then which spans two rows vertically, and the second row contains a column heading for the table. And then you have the body. So this is the starting of the body section. So this will be the end of it, and then go down. So then underneath here in the body, so basically those for the body section, it'll basically contain the main contents. And then you also have the data rows underneath. So this defines two rows in the body section of the table. So each representing different type of camlet, like camels and llamas, for example, right here. So each row contains data corresponding to columns defined in the header section. And then you have the end of the body and the table. So when you run this, see, so this will create a table with the image camel, and then you have the title example spanning rows and columns. And then you can see the camel's bacterium, number of humps, which regions split, produce wool, and comparison that was in June of 2011. So yeah, so that was for table two. Now after table two, now we go to figure 2.15. I think this is form two. So that's what's in the document, form two HTML. So basically in this form, it has, so this is the form two. So this will have various components like radio, checkboxes, and etc. So the basically doc type HTML declares the document type of the HTML. And you have the HTML, beginning of the document, you have the header, it'll contain data about the document. You have the meta char set, TF8, so this specifies the characters, like encoding of the document. And then you have the title, so this will set the title of the document to more forms. Then you have the end of the header section, so end of this head section. Then you have the beginning of the body. So this begins the body of the HTML document. And then you have the header one feedback form. So this will display a heading indicating um, like the purpose of the form. And then you have P. So this will please fill out this form to help us improve our site. So this provides instructions for filling out the form. And then you have the form method equals post action http http://www.dital.com. So this starts the form with an HTTP method set to post and the action attribute to http www.dital.com, indicating the form data should be sent to this URL when the form is submitted. And then you have the various inputs underneath. So you have like the input type hidden, name recipient, value, title. You have input type, hidden name, subject, value, feedback form, input type, hidden name, redirect, value equals main.html. And you also have the label. So these are like, in a sense, these are like inputs or like hidden inputs that store metadata about the form submission, such as receipts, uh, email addresses, and subjects, like here. And this. And then you have the text input for the username. So I have like input name. For the username, and then you have the text area where you'll have the comment sections, rows, 4 columns, 36. And you have to enter like the comments here, and then you have to pass uh, input email name. So, and you have the password. So this password is the input for the user email address, and this is like masked into the input name equals email. And then going down, then you have check boxes, paragraphs. You have the check boxes for like input name, things like checkbox, label links, label easy of use, and etc. So, and then when you go on to the bottom, it has the read for site and etc. And then you have the submit and reset value. So basically, this will submit and reset buttons for submitting the form and clearing the input fields. And so when the user, basically in this code, when the user fills out the form and clicks the submit button, the form data will be sent to a specified URL. So it'll be the www.ditel.com. And using the HTTP post method, and the form will include the user's name, common email addresses, and selected checkboxes and radio buttons. And this form can then be processed. Can also, I think you can also do this on the server side as well. So run this path. Yep, you see you'll have your name. So your name like Ash. Enter comments if you want to enter your comments. Well, this takes you straight there, but email address, things you like. So it gives you the options, site design, links, ease of use, images, source code. And how did you get on the site, search engine, title, website, rate or site, and you have the submit and clear button. So this will submit it, clear it. Okay, so now that was done. So now you have the autocomplete. We have to do for chapter 3, autocomplete HTML. So let me go up. So basically you have the HTML header here, you have the doc type, then you have the HTML, so that's the beginning of the HTML document. You have the header, contains data about the document, meta charset, UTF-8 specifies the characters, coding of the document, and then you have the title, new HTML5 autocomplete attribute and data list element. So this will set the title of the document to the new HTML5 autocomplete attribute and data list element. And then you have the ending of the header section. Then you have the beginning of the body. So this will be in the body of the HTML. And then you have like the header one. So autocomplete and data list demo. So this will display like the heading of the form. So it'll be autocomplete and data list demo. And then you have the paragraph. So this will provide like the explanation of the form inside. And then you have the various inputs and fields. So you have like the first name, input type text, the first name, then you have, last name, then you need P label, input type last name, then you have the label email, input type email, and it'll have different types of uh, inside the paragraph, so different options inside, and then you have the date of birth, so it'll give the option value of if it's January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and etc. And also the data list for birth months is encrypted inside the data list ID months. So this will basically, like I said, contain options for each month. So you can click, and then you have the submit and reset values. So this will, so you can basically submit it, and if you want, you can reset it to start it over for anybody. So you copy. See, so title autocomplete data list, and then you have, write your first name, like Sam, Ron, email, birth month, so select, so you can be like October, so I have the option October, submit. And you have the clear button as well. So that was for figure 3.17. Now we will go to the advanced for figure 4.6. So advanced HTML. So basically in this code, you have, I'll go straight into, we already know the HTML head and the meta chart set title will be more styles, but then we have a, what's it called? We have a hover. So you have a hover, a nautic. So basically a nautic, this defines like the class, um, like the class name for like the anchor element. So removing the text declaration, you also have a hover. So this specifies a style or, anchor elements when hovered over or like underlining the text. Then you have the LIEM. This applies the bold font. And then you have the header one, so underlines H1EM. So this underlines the heading, emphasize text, and you have a UL. So this reduces like the font size of the nested unordered list. Then you have UL, so this reduces the font size of nested unordered list. And you have the style, ending style, and then you have the ending of the header. Then you have the body. So you have the header each one shopping list for Monday. So this displays the heading of it. And then you have the UL. So this is starting the unordered list. And then you have the list of items containing, various grocery items: milk, bread, white bread, rye bread, whole wheat bread. And uh, and these are like nested. So this is basically a nested, unordered list of different types of breads also. So you have the white bread, rye bread, whole wheat bread, and then you have the PEM, and you have the PEM Go to EM at class Nautic, href, which will equal http://www.dietl.com. This will display basically um, a paragraph like with the text and hyperlink styled with the Nautic class, and this will kind of remove like the text decoration. So when you run this, so basically, uh, so this basically, this code basically is an HTML element that displays according to like basically the respective styles, and also the font family types or like the text decoration as well, and margins that are applied in the code to lay out the different type of shopping list inside of a hyperlink. So when you run this, copy path, paste, bam. See shopping list, and you have different options. Like I said, milk bread. You'll have white bread inside of a list. So you'll have bread and like in a sense, this is like a list. So you have white bread, rye bread, whole wheat bread, and then you have carrots, yogurt, pizza with mushrooms, and they'll give you the link to go to the grocery store. So yeah. So this was figure 4.6. Now we go to figure 4.9. So this is the positioning HTML. Um, so basically, this code will explain the use of the absolute positioning for the element and the layering of the elements using the z-index property in the CSS. So we know everything from the doc type HTML declares document type. Then you have HTML that begins the HTML document. You have the header that contains metadata about the document. Meta chart set UTF-8 specifies the characters encoding of the document. And then you have the title, so absolute positioning. So this will be, they'll set the title document to absolute positioning. And then you have the style type equals text CSS. So this begins the style block where the CSS rules are defined. And then you have the background image. So this is basically an element with the class background image. So this sets the positions to the absolute, top position to 0 pixels, and the left position to 0 pixels, and the Z index to 1. And then you have the foreground image. This styles the element in the class to foreground image. And it sets the position to the absolute position top of 25 pixels. And you have the left position to 100 pixels, the Z index to 2. And then you have the text. So this will style the class text. So this will set the positions like the absolute top position to 25 pixels. And then you have also the left position to 100 pixels. You have the Z index to 3. And you have the font size that'll be 20, and a font family of, Tamo, Geneva. And this will be the end of, so then you'll have like the end of the style and end of the header section. Then you have the body. So this will be the beginning of the HTML document. So in a sense, there's like 30 paragraphs that contains images within the class of the background image. And then you have the second paragraph that contains images within the class regarding foreground images. You have the third paragraph that contains the text uh, with the class text. So when you run this, the background image should position to the top left corner of the page, and the foreground image is, I think, positioned to 25 pixels from the top and 100 pixels from the left. Copy path. Right position to the left, top right corner, top left corner actually is right, and the foreground image 25 pixels. So let's write on that. Now we have figure 4.10. So that's basically the position for each position two. So we go down to position two. So for the positioning two, um, this basically uses the CSS for the style type equals text CSS. So this will um, implement the CSS rules. So P styles all the P elements. So it sets the font size to 1.3 em and the font family to Verdana. Then you have the span. So this styles all span elements to the text color, red, font size of 0.60 em, height to 1 em. Yeah, the super. So the styles the element with the class super and sets the position and moves the element by 1 ex, well, minus 1. Yeah. Then you have the sub. So this sub element is within the class sub, and this sets the position and moves the element down by 1 ex. And then you have the shift to left and the shift to right. These are both classes, and they set positions relative to the shift element. So it'll shift one to the left, and the other one will shift to the right by 1 ex. Then this is the end of the style, end of the header section, and then you have the body. So you have basically four paragraphs. And basically in each paragraph, it contains the sentence with span. So these are elements with different classes. So you have the superclass, the subclass, shift left, shift right. So basically in the superclass, this moves the text up, creating a super script effect, and then the subclass moves the text down, creating a subscript effect, and then the shift left class shifts the text to the left, and then the shift right class shifts the text to the right. So when you run this app, right, so it shifts left, shifts to the right, down by 1 for the text end of the sentence, and the first one it goes up by 1. So that's right. So after positioning HTML2, now you have 4.11, background HTML. So basically, this code demonstrates the uses of background images and the identification. So basically, in the body, so it uses text CSS rules. So this basically sets the background image to logo.png, and it also positions it at the bottom right corner to prevent any like repetition. Then you have the background repeat. So well, and the no repeat, so it keeps it in place. And then you have the background attachment fixed, so it sets a fallback of the background color of light gray. And then you have the P style, P element. So this, um, and then you have the P style. So this basically, yeah, that's basically it. So then you have the paragraph. So in this paragraph, this contains the text describing the examples of the background image of the title associating. And this basically, when this code runs, the background images will be displayed at the bottom right corner of the page and remains fixed when scrolling or like residing in the browser window. And Text will also be indented. For some reason, there's some errors. I don't know why. But... So we'll go to float. This is example 4.15, floating HTML. So basically, the title will have flowing text around flowing elements. So this sets the title of the document. And then you have the style type. So this begins the style block of the CSS rules. And then you have the header. The header style. So this sets the background color to sky blue and aligns the text to the center. And you have the font family and the padding. And then you have the P style. So this aligns the text to justify and specifies the font family and sets margins. And then you have the header one. So this removes margins from the top. And then you have the floated style. So this sets the background color, font size, and the font family. And also it has the padding, margin left, margin bottom, float right, text line right. And then you have the header, you have the end of the style, end of the header, and then you have the header section. So basically this contains the image, img with the ditel.png. So this will represent the ditel logo. And then you have two sections of the elements. So each section contains a header one class and a float as well. So in the header class, you'll have floated and well, actually have two floats actually. And then the heading. So basically, you'll have the heading floats to the right, allowing the text to flow around it. And this paragraph will contain information about the Digital Associate Inc., their services, their partnerships with the piercing. So this will be uh, like written inside of it. So when you run it, yep. So inside of it, it has the objectives, basically the corporate training, program books, and the basically the paragraph written inside of it. So that was the floating part of it. And now we have the drop down HTML. This is 4.17. Wait. So for the floating, 4.15. So this basically same thing, the HTML header, meta chart set title. So this will have the title, flowing text around the floating element. And then you have body head, you have the header section, and this is the same one, my bad. This is the drop down. Sorry. So this one creates basically a drop down menu for everything in the top, the title. We have the drop down menu. So they'll set the title of the document to drop down menu. Then you have the body, so the style of the body, the font size, the color, the background, and etc. Then you have the NAV. So this defines the navigation menu containing the navigation links with the UL. So you'll have the navigation links showing home, news, articles, blogs, contacts. So basically, each links are wrapped up in an anchor and an A tag. So when you run this, then you get so because in this navigation, so in this navigation link, you'll have um, basically they're hidden at first. When you hover over it, it'll have the home, news, articles, blogs, and contacts. So that's for drop down menu. Now we go to linear gradient for figure 5.4. So in the basically in the div, this is basically it's the styles of the elements, the specific width, height, border, padding, text, line, basically of how it's going to be the background of it, and the colors. And when you go down, you have the horizontal, and then you have the horizontal and diagonals down here. So these add additional styles for specific elements within the IDs, and these styles override the general styles for these specific divs. So the horizontal have the width, height, border, orange text line setter background. Diagonal have also purple, like a purple border background will be WebKit. So it'll be quite similar. Um, but in each div, it contains a header too. So this will have descriptive title for the gradient. So when you run it, see vertical linear gradient, horizontal linear gradient. So I have three of them, different colors, but in different sides. You have horizontal, vertical, and etc. That was for linear gradient. Now we have multiple backgrounds. So this is figure 5.8. So basically, and the div, so basically the dot background here for 5.8. So this is the style of all elements with the class. So you have the background. So this specify multiple background images using background image with the URL functions. So it sets different position and origins for each background image using the background. And then it'll use both position, background, origins, properties. And also it specifies what the background image should repeat using the background repeat property. And then you also have the content style. So this will style all elements with the class content, specifying the padding, color, font size. And then you have the div class background. So this creates an element with the class background, which applies multiple background images and their styles. And then you have the div class content nested div element. So this contains the content to be displayed over the background image. And then you have the paragraph containing the text of the Ditel associates. So this will contain the text itself. So let me run those, copy that. There you go. That was multiple backgrounds. Now we go to image borders. So this is figure 5.10. Um, So basically going down into the CSS rules for div, this creates the styles div element. So this will also set the borders width of the padding for all div elements. And then you have the stretch style. So this is element with the ID stretch. And this applies border images that stretches to fit the borders of the div using the border image property. And then you have that repeat style. So the style is a div element with the ID repeat, and it applies the border image that repeats to fill the border of the div using the border image property. And then you have the end of the style, end of the header, and then we have the body. So this is beginning of the HTML document. So you have the H2 image border. So this will display the headings indicating the sections about the image borders. And then you have the div ID stretching the image border. So this creates a div element with the ID stretch. And this will display the text stretching the image border. And this div has a border that stretches to the fit content as well. And then you have the div ID equals repeat. So this will display content repeating the image border inside the div, and also has the border that repeats to fill the content inside of it. Yep, so that's it for the image. So now we go to animations. There's the animation. Wait. Let me just get the animation back. I think it got deleted on my end. Let me open it back up. Yeah, there we go. For a second, I thought I lost it. Okay. So this is figure 5.11 for the animations. So basically, we'll start right away in the CSS rules. So the image style, all image element, this defines the position and animation properties for the image. So you have the WebKit key, the WebKit animation, and you have Moses animation, etc. And then you have add WebKit keyframes, move image, and you have the add Moses keyframe, move image. You have the keyframes, moving image. So this defines keyframes in the animation, the moved image, and the animation consists of keyframes at various percentages of the completion, each specifying different properties from left and top. So then go down. So then you enter the style header, and then you go inside the body. You'll have the image source, jptp.png, width and height with the alt Java how to program. Book cover, so this image will be animated according to the defined keyframe. So basically this animation is applied to the image using the keyframes defined with the CSS rules. So it makes the image move diagonal across the screen while changing its opacity. And the animation duration is set to 10 seconds with a 1 second delay before it starts. And it repeats twice in a alternate direction. See, That's animation. Now we go to FBLM 5.16. So this is basically a flexible box layout. So I'll just go straight into style type text. So this has the flex box. This contains divs with the glass flex box. It sets the width and height and uses the flex properties to arrange its child elements in a horizontal direction. And you have the flex box greater than div. So this styles the child divs of the flex box container. So it sets the transaction effects, border radius, border with margin, and a box shadow for each card. And you have the flex box div child. So this applies the styles to child divs when hovered, such as increasing width and also uh, changing the text color and font um, weight as well. And then you have the style head end of the header body, and then you have the div class flexbox. So this basically creates a flexbox container to hold the informations of the cards. So you have the nested div, and so each div represents an information containing um, an image and a paragraph describing the content. So the image source and alt. So this will display the image, jpp.png in good morning practice, or EPIT-PNG error prevention tip icon. So this when this code will run, it'll display a set of information of the cards arranged horizontally using the flexbox, and each card containing an image. So copy that. Yep. So this was the code. Now we have the break test HTML, so that's 8.6. So basically, we go straight into CSS rules. We already have that. So basically, I'll go straight into the Java code. So this declares um, basically so I'll go into CSS rules. So basically, this will um, yeah. So this is using the break statement for a for statement, and then you have the for loop. So var count equals 1, count greater than or equal to 10. So this will go through the loop continuously until it is less than or equal to 10. And if the count equals 5, so break the loop, and then it'll write the count, and then it'll end the loop, and then it'll write document type right at ln. So broke out of the loop at count. So run this. So this will display like a table showing the amount of money on the deposits for basically from 1 through 10 with the compound interest. So I think that's going to be calculated as well. Not compound interest, sorry. I think that was for interest evaluation. So this is the break. So copy path. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4 broke out of the loop and count equals 5. So now we go down to interest.html. Yep. So basically in this code for the interest.html, so this will go through this will basically when you render this code, basically, um, it'll basically display the table showing the amount of money on deposit for each year through years 1 through 10 with the compound interest. So the amount equals principal dot max compound. And it'll be based on the principal amount and interest rate specified in the JavaScript code that we have right here. And basically the odd rows will have a different background color as well. See, so the odd rows will have a different background color. So you see in the evens, it's light blue, and then you can see the odd numbers, it's white. So this is now you do the continue test.html. So that's figure 8.0, 8.12. So basically I'll go straight into the for loop. So after the script, so this basically begins with a for loop with the initialization of var count equals 1, with the condition count less than or equal to 10, and with the plus plus count expression. So inside the loop, if count is equal to 5, then it'll break the statement that's executed, and it'll basically can't stop the loop. And if the break statement is not executed, the loop continues, and the value of count is written within the document with document dot write ln. So when you run this, so basically when it runs, it'll output the numbers from 1 to 4 to the document separated by the spaces. Then it'll output a message indicating that the loop was exited when count equals 5. Just continue to skip printing 5. So that's that code. All right, so now we go to the final one. Crabs HTML. It's pretty big. So I would go straight into in the script. So this will have the variables used to the page element, the first die point, second, the first die roll, second die roll, and etc. But I would want to go straight into the for loop. So when you begin the for loop, so basically this will begin the for loop. So basically you have the roll again. You basically have start game, roll game, first roll, and etc. But the start game will initialize the game state and prepare the GUI for the new game, and then you have the first roll. In the first roll, the function will prefer the first roll of the dice and determine the outcome, win, loss, or etc. and then the roll dice. This will give the option of rolling two dices and returns the sum of their values. And so basically, when this code is completed, it sets up a craps game simulation where the user can click play to start the game and roll the dice. And basically, it depends on each roll. So here in the case 7, message you win, click play to play again. Sorry, you lose, but this all depends with the roll. So rolling of the dice, and depending what occurs. Play, roll, you win, click play to play again, play, roll, play, roll again. Sorry, you lose. So basically this was all for to go over. And thank you so much and have a good day. Thank you. Bye bye.